Shabbat Shalom and good evening, everyone. Wonderful to have you here in our sanctuary, and Shabbat Shalom and welcome, Bruchim Habaim, to those who are watching the live stream from the comfort of wherever they are. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger, and I'm joined in the Bima, as I have been by the last number of weeks, with our soloist, Michelle McNicholas, and down, as always, on the piano, our accompanist, Joy Katzen-Guthrie. We're going to have a great Shabbat service. We're going to bring back one of those songs at the end that's more to popular music, and then we're also going to bring to you what will be a brand new song for probably the vast majority of you, and hope you'll like that as well. But we'll begin on page 13, and on page 13 as well as on the screen, you'll find the words to Psalm 96. May the heavens rejoice and the earth exult, let the sea and all within it thunder, otherwise known as Yismechu. Yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai mai 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 yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai mai 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 Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo Yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai mai 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 Yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai mai 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 Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo. Ooh, very nice recovery back there. I was thinking I was going to have to make a little trip in the back, but saved a trip. Thank you very much, tech team. All right, pleasure to call forward any women, ladies in the kahal, in the sanctuary, who'd like to help us light the Shabbat candles. You'll find the bracha or blessing on page 2 as we sing together, Light These Lights.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace.
Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say as we've been doing the last number of weeks to show our love and support of Israel, I'll invite you to join me in a special prayer on her behalf. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. May you bless the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces and all who stand guard to protect our people. Shield them from all troubles and injury. Help them secure freedom without loss of life for all those held captive by the enemy. May they have strength and courage of heart. And we'll sing together the words, Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel lives. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu Chai. And I share with you that we are going to be bringing a new song into the mix, and the new song is an arrangement of Psalm 95, written by Matovu, and there's another Matovu a pair of rabbis who had a group together, and the other Matovu that we sing on a regular basis is the Hashkivenu prayer for shelter, but this one's called Lechu Neranana. If you'd like to join us in the prayer book, it's found right at the top of page 12. Come, let us sing with joy to God. Lechu Neranana, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Adonai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Nahariya, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Litzur Yishenu, Yai Lai 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 Lai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu Neranana, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Adonai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Nahariya, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Litzur Yishenu, Yai Lai 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 Lai. For all of the wonders in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Hope you enjoyed that one. We are going to continue with the Hatzi Kaddish, and that's our segue to Shema and its blessings. In the prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, you'll find that on page 6.
Shemay de Kudasha Bruchu, Le'elan, Shemay de Kudasha Bruchu, Le'elan min kol birchata v'shihirata, tush birchata v'nechemata, tahamiran v'alma v'miru. Amen.
Let's rise now for the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. That's found on page 28. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Please join me on 31. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Let's sing Open Up Our Eyes together.
Open up our eyes,
Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one.
Open up our eyes.
Open up our eyes.
Teach us how to live.
Teach us how to fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Feel free to be seated. We'll continue chanting the words of the Shema. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Beginning on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavcha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. So prelude to our prayer of freedom, Mi Chamocha, who is like you, God. Let's read on 39 together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, norati lo o sefele, norati lo o sefele. Moving to our aforementioned prayer of protection and shelter. The Hashkivenu is found on page 42 in your prayer books.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Behamitenu Shomreinu leChayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Behamitenu Shomreinu leChayim. Ushmo Seitenu Uoenu
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Let's rise now for our standing prayers, asking God to open our lips. We'll begin on page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor veHanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasevot v'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo v'Yahava, Melech Oser u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol, Atah Rav Leoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afar, Micha Mocha Baal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom halu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Feel free to be seated. Next three prayers of the tefillah you'll find right on the screen. First, a prayer for Shabbat and its holiness that you'll find on page 55. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat, and words of avodah, the word for prayer found on the bottom of it. We ask for God's presence to be with us here in Israel. Baruch Adonai Machazir Shemato Zion, and avodah, thanksgiving and gratitude on page 59. O Yisrael, Ba Shalom. And now we'll sing a variation of words for peace on page 62. Debbie Friedman's arrangement of Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Bim Rom Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom De'Roma Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Yimeru Amen. Our words and healing, Mishaberach, you can find on 253 as we call to mind and to heart members of our community and beyond. Yost Grobe, Maya Herman, Jim Howard, Hank Katzen, Lucy Lang, Misty Neff, Ken Mercero, Michael Ranzino, Stephanie Ross, Marty Santos, Carol Sabani, Jean Sabani, Dennis Schulman, Albert Schaefer, Angie Sermanis, and Jeff Stark. And if there are other names you'd like to add this time, feel free.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Meet and let us say Amen.
As Rabbi Klein, our Rabbi Emeritus, will be leading services next Friday while I take some time for R&R. This will be my last sermon of the year 2023 here in this sanctuary. So I thought about what I could talk about. So many different topics, but one that kept going through my head was a revisioning of a sermon that I gave within the first few months I was here. Remember back in those days when everything was on screen. It was around September or so of 2020, and the subject was mirrors and windows. So this Devar Torah, I'll call mirrors and windows. You can guess it. 2. In the original stage version of the Dybbuk, which is also known in English as Between Two Worlds, there's a scene where a very rich merchant named Sender returns home from his daughter's wedding. Upon his arrival, an unnamed traveler, who is called the messenger, sends and tells him a parable. Once there was a rich but very stingy Hasid, the first Jew, who visited a local rabbi. It was quite a mouthful. Shlomo Zavnil Rappaport, better known as S. Ansky, was a Jewish activist, a socialist actually, a political critic, and a folklorist. Born in the Russian Empire in what's now Belarus in 1863, he wrote the Dybbuk between 1913 and 1960. By that time, he was writing exclusively in Yiddish. Earlier in his career, he wrote in Russian. Now, the play depicts the possession of a young woman by an evil spirit, which is known as a Dybbuk in Jewish folklore. In this case, the spirit was of her beloved husband who had recently passed away. While Ansky wrote many works of literature, books, politics, and ethnography, he's certainly best known for his play, The Dybbuk, which debuted in Warsaw in 1920, exactly 1 month to the day after his death. The meaning of the tale about Sender, the rich Hasid, and the messenger who was visiting, the unnamed traveler, is quite clear. The introduction of a precious metal to the back of a pane of glass, in this case silver, actually does change what you see. The glass that's found in a mirror and window are the same, but looking into the mirror, the rest of the world disappears. Your perspective is changed, and all you see is a variation of yourself. The point of the exercise that the rabbi was doing was to teach Sender to care a little bit more about others and focus a little bit less on himself. Now, I think it's safe to say that many people have an ambivalent relationship with mirrors. Not necessarily the rear view or side view mirrors that we use when driving a car. That, of course, is for safety. I'm talking about the mirrors that we use to look at ourselves. Now, looking at our own image can bring up a host of emotions, ranging from positive or in some cases negative, about our own screen. Now, some mirrors have been found as early as 6,000 before the Common Era in Turkey. That's a long time ago. Later, when people gained some more insight into metallurgy, various metals were used, such as brass, silver, and gold, and by about 2000 BCE, the use of metal alloys became widespread, typically with a mix of tin and copper, and that's most likely the amalgam that's being used there. By the turn of the Common Era, aka year zero, a guy named Pliny the Elder, a Roman historian, noted that silver mirrors were regularly used by women. This fascination with mirrors was shared by the Jewish people. In the book of Exodus, which describes the creation of the Mishkan, or portable tabernacle sanctuary, God says to Moses, "You shall make a laver, or wash basin, of bronze." The Israelites would eventually use this before entering the tent of meeting. And I'll ask our tech team to place, this is a modern replica of what a copper basin or laver could have looked like. In response to this directive to make this laver or wash basin, we learn that the Israelite women generously parted ways with their own personal bronze mirrors, which are called marot in Hebrew. The Hebrew word or root of marot, which is found in not a single other place in the Bible, means appearance. In Jewish folklore, mirrors are typically described as a portal to the realm of the spirit. Many of us are familiar with the custom of covering mirrors in a house of mourning. Some believe this practice helps us avoid any sense of vanity during a time of grief, while others suggest that if we were to look in the mirror without it being covered, we might even see the deceased, which is very eerie. It's even been suggested that evil spirits, such as the Dybbuk in Ansky's play, are always looking for a portal to end. Prophecy itself is often described as a mirror. In the Talmud, for instance, this experience is either called a bright mirror, which is usually associated with the greatest prophet Moses, or it's called a dark mirror, which calls to mind the dreams and visions of prophets like Ezekiel and Daniel, who had some very wild visions. It's even been said that mirrors actually saved the Israelites in Egypt. There's a midrash or commentary that explains that at a certain point, the Pharaoh in Egypt decreed that men were no longer allowed to sleep at home or have relations with their wives. Why? Because the Egyptians sought not merely to enslave the Israelites, but also to put an end to the people of Israel. It's a story as old as time and one that continues to the modern day, as we know, in Israel, with the newest iteration of anti-Semites wearing the insignia of Hamas or Islamic Jihad, who literally crave death as much as Jews seek life. So who saved the day back in Egypt during the Pharaoh's times? The women. It's said that they would catch fish in the River Nile, sell some of the fish to buy some food and wine. They would cook the fish, obviously. Then they would meet their husband in the fields to enjoy the food and refreshments. Afterwards, the women would initiate a game. Taking out their polished copper mirrors, they would look into the mirror with their beloved, and in a flirtatious way, the woman would say, "I'm more attractive than you." And then the man would say, "Well, I'm better looking than you." This playful use of a mirror after a long day schlepping those big stones for the latest monument to Pharaoh's ego, that shows us that even in Egypt, which is called Mitzrayim, or a place of spiritual narrowness, the Israelites were still able to observe the first commandment of the Torah, who would be fruitful in line. Thinking about Joseph, these last few in the Torah, his life, it can be said, was marked by a mirror. Now, the Torah introduces us to Joseph to be chucked into a pit by our siblings, sold into slavery, or accused of sexual harassment by one's captors. But rather than wallow in despair, he looked for a mirror that would shed light on his experiences and imbue them with meaning. His story is akin to the late Holocaust survivor and psychologist Viktor Frankl, who said the following: "The meaning of our existence isn't invented by ourselves, but rather we detect it. What matters, therefore, isn't the meaning of life in general, but rather the specific meaning of our own life at a given moment." Instead of letting the bad memories of his past become corrosive, as certain metals do when they're introduced to the oxygen, it reminds me of the following phrase: "Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift." That's why it's called present. Now, applying this analogy to the window and the mirror, seeing our own reflection, just like Viktor Frankl did. in the mirror. Each in their own way looked forward to finding a specific meaning for their lives in the present moment. As we draw near to the end of 2023, I hope and pray that the next year, 2024, will bring much needed light into the world. We started gathering this light during the Festival of Lights, each of the 8 nights. And this is also happening during the darkest part of the year. So both literally because of our distance from the sun, and because so many places in the world seem to be filled with more hate than love, we need to look forward in the future with hope. And I'll ask our tech team to put this final image right up there. So whether we choose to reflect this light with mirrors, that's on the left, and the windows that are on the right, let us all strive to make this new year a bit better than the last. May God bless each of us on our own personal journey, giving us strength of body, mind, and spirit, and may our hearts be filled with even more love and understanding in the future. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue our service on page 282, the words of Aleinu. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Feel free to be seated. You'll find the words to the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Tome, on page 294. So we think of families in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days mourning their loved one. So we fondly remember Bob Rosen, husband of Debbie Rosen and father of Rebecca and Sabra. Leo Gilberg, father of Ron Gilberg. Leo Padron, uncle of Belinda Konigsberg. And at the end of the period of Shloshim, previous president of Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, the Reform Rabbinical Seminary, Rabbi David Ellenson. And today, this Shabbat, we mark the yahrzeit anniversary of passing of the following individuals. So we remember fondly Rose Davis, Harry Dodora, David Charles Finn, Joseph Frankel, Loretta Freifeld, Gertrude Glaubman, Jerome Glenn, Bernie Grant, Etta Greenhouse, Lillian Cadies, Leonard Lipensky, Tyler Mann, Helen Perlman, Ollie Rosen, Esther Sargrad, Dorothy Siderman, Beatrice Shore, Herbert Simon, Rose Soloshatz, Jeannie Stein, Samuel Irving Stein, Benjamin Stone, Milton Mendel Strauss, Esther Sussner, Samuel Sussner, and Henry Walter. Are there any other names to add for Yahrzeit at this time? We say Zichronam Livracha. May the memories of all of these good people continue to be a blessing in their loved ones' lives as we rise to offer the words of Kaddish praise together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach Yerutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon of yomechon v'chayei decho Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shemei dekudesha b'richu, Ve'ela minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who causes peace in the heavens cause peace to descend on us, Israel, and throughout the world, as we say, amen.
V'imru, 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 amen. V'imru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. You'll find the words to the Shabbat Kiddush blessing over the fruit of the vine on page 5 as well as the screens. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ava u'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikrahi kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ava u'ratzon hinkaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat.
Amen.
Chaim to life. All right, today the only kid/teenager in the room is my son Avi. Come on down. I know. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi Yotzi lehem min haaretz. Amen. Tevon. I don't think you've ever seen Price is Right. Because that's where that come on down, even though he's ascending the bema. And then if I said, please have your pets spayed or neutered, you would also recognize that from Mr. Barker as well. And Ed, you are here.
I am here.
And you are reading some announcements, which, interestingly enough, I put all the way back there. So we need a runner. Not you. I'll go get it for you.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to pre-New Year at Temple Ahavat Shalom. I thought they were up here. I didn't see them back there. Next week, as Rabbi Berger has said, Rabbi Klein will be here, and he will be soloing. So he's going to need all the voices that we can muster in the audience.
That was one of the announcements.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple more.
Okay, there are some more. Many thanks, of course, to Rabbi Matt and to Michelle and Joy for their wonderful music, as always. Tech team, Saul Tave, and me. Our annual fundraiser, and this is a big one. Remember, everyone, February 5th is the fundraiser. We're having Dr. Aram Romarowski. And the topic that he'll be talking on is one which is really critically important for us. He'll be talking on anti-Semitism on the campus, which is just a gigantic issue these days. Our Jewish children are going to the campus and they're not prepared. And so this will be, it'll be an interesting talk. Please talk it up among the parents of young people who are either at college or will be going to college in the next few years. After the service, of course, we have an Oneg Shabbat. We invite you to join us there. And I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and a very happy 2024. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks so much. And the prayer, or really song poem, that we're going to put to more popular music, in this case, the folk music of James Taylor, is Something in the Way She Moves, absolute classic. You'll find the words there on the screens as well as on page 321. It's always easy to remember Adon Olam in the prayer book on 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Ve'et Nasa V'chev Soko Zay Melech Shemo Nikra Yakurek Yiklotako V'vahado Yimlo Nora Hu haya ve'hu ove ve'hu yeh Ve'hu yeh V'tifara Hu haya ve'hu ove ve'hu yeh Hu yeh V'tifara V'tifara Hu echad ve'en sheni V'hamshir lo V'hachbira V'li reshit v'li tachlit V'lo ha'oz ve'ha'misra V'hu eli V'hai go'ali V'tzur kevli b'yetzara v'yetzara, kunsi umanosli, not kosi biomekra, v'yahado afi ruhi, etishan v'hahira, imruki geviati, Adonai li velo ira. Uhaya ve'uove ve'huye. Huye. V'tifara. Uhaya ve'uove ve'huye. Huye. Farah v'tifara. Shabbat shalom.